Hi, this is Michael William Denny of ThunderShamanism.com, and today we're going to be talking about another chapter in the book, Mounting Sleipnir. So, this book, this is one of my favorite books that I've written. There's so much information in it. And obviously I can't go into detail of everything, in the book. I recommend that you get it if this interests you, but I'm going to share a little bit of some of my take on it. And every time I read it and look at this stuff, I see more stuff, and this is one of those times. So I'm going to talk to you about a chapter in the book where I'm talking about entities that are unique to the Germanic pre-Christian tradition, and we find them in one of the myths called Odin's corpse song. And so in it, whoever it is that wrote this lists 8 classes of beings. And what I found, this is what's really interesting. I just figured this out. I was looking at it and I went, but you can't make up this stuff. I mean, the connections are undeniable. So as you know, I've got my version of the map of the 9 worlds, and you can see, you usually want to go in a clockwise direction when you're creating things, but when you're really gaining deep wisdom, you go in an anti-clockwise direction. And so going in an anti-clockwise direction, these 8 classes of beings are found on this same compass for the 8 worlds. But going in a reverse direction, this is the first verse in Odin's corpse song goes like this. World. All Father acts, Elves discern, Vanir know, Norns point the way, Wood wives give birth, men endure, Thurses wait, Valkyries yearn. So let's talk about that. I mean, I talk about each one of these things in the book, and I talk about why they are the way they are, but let's just see, maybe I can add to that. So listen, you got to get the book. There's a link below if you really want to understand in depth what these entities are. But I'm just now really enjoying this idea of this is now, once again, a map that came straight out of the myths. And here I am coming up with this idea, 1,000 years later, putting it to a map of the 8 worlds, and sure enough, it's right there. It's just, instead of going in a clockwise fashion, it's going in a counterclockwise fashion. So the Allfather acts. So the Allfather is Odin. Odin is often connected with Mercury. When you want to place Mercury in the directions, you place him in the north. So you have Allfather acts, which is Mercury. Now, as we've talked about, Odin means he who is consumed with the fury of self-awareness. Not fury in the sense of, I'm really mad at you, but just furiously, very powerful emotional connection. Odin, if you were to be in his presence, would be very difficult to tolerate because the power of his awareness and the emotions connected to that, takes a lot of self discipline to be able to handle that, as he clearly is able to do. But he acts, meaning that, instead of sitting around thinking about everything, which is what we do here in the West. We're so stuck in our heads, especially about our lives. I mean, I deal with this on a daily basis. Part of what I do is I deal with people who call me on the phone, and, I counsel them, and, most of the time they just need to take action. This happens a lot with people who want, what I do is I give rune readings over the phone. And I get people wanting to know about, love and money and all that. And, a lot of it could be saved if I just simply said to get off your butt and do something about it. Well, there's this guy over there, and we've known each other for years, and is he ever going to call? No! Pick up the phone and call him. This comes from fearlessness. All Father acts, Woden acts because he is fearless. This is why dying in battle is so important to the Germanic people. It doesn't mean, die by getting your throat cut. That's not what it means. It means being fearless. And being fearless means if that guy over there, you like him, you go and ask him out. If he says no, well, screw him. That's his problem. You move on to the next guy. Sitting there, does he love me? I mean, guys do this too, but it's the same thing. Well, what should I do? I don't have enough money. Do something about it. If you don't know what you want to do for a living, think about what gives you happiness. This is what I do. I make money doing what I would do anyway. I made that decision a long time ago. I'm not going to work for anybody else. I'm not going to go and make money, punching a clock. I have absolutely no interest in doing anything anybody else is interested in getting me to do. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I make money doing it. That's acting. You take action towards what you want, towards what you want. Anyway, that's a whole other subject. There's books coming out later about this, about following your true passion, which will, I'm sure you'll hear about it coming up. But anyway, so the All-Father acts, that's in the north. That's in the north. Elves discern. We go into the northwest, which is the realm of the elf home, which is where elves live. Elves discern. They're able to discern between this, that, and the other because they have this objectivity. We've talked about that. They've achieved their status because they're like the bodhisattvas. They are the ascended masters of the human race, and they stand between created world and infinity, and they look back and they give us discernment. Elves discern. Vanir know. We've talked about this, the knowledge of the Vanir. The Vanir know because the Vanir are the elder gods. They're the gods of time and space, magic, fertility. They live in time and space. That's why they're the elder gods. The gods in Asgard are not the elder gods because they live in that timeless perfection of the celestial deities. They're like children. So for them, there is no time. Time doesn't pass. So they don't have knowledge like the Vanir do. The Vanir are the elder gods because they live in time and space, and they have learned through experience. So they're very powerful meditators. And so if you really want to learn, what the real power of the Vanir is, learn how to meditate, and you'll understand why the Vanir know. They know through experience. So the trolls, by the way, experience, meditation doesn't mean disconnecting yourself from experience. A meditation means being in the moment. This is what, again, we're dealing with emotions. People, again, in the West, we stuff all of our feelings down. We don't want to feel anything. New Age gurus talk about enlightenment where they don't have any feelings about anything. That is not enlightenment. That's denial. The Vanir are fully connected to their emotional selves. They're fully connected to their emotions, and they experience them, but they don't react to them. They act when appropriate, but they feel all of their feelings, and they know. This is knowledge. So again. All right, so Norns point the way. Norns point the way. So we go from the west, which is where the Vanir live. So we've gone from the north, where Odin is. We've gone to the northwest, where the elf home is. We've gone to the west, which is the Wain's home, or the Vanaheim, the realm of the Vanir. And now we've moved to the south west. My finger's backward than yours. To the south west, which is Norns point the way. We've talked a lot about Norns, and that's all. Norns are giants, and the southwest is the realm of Helholm, which is where we go to work through our attachments. that have kept us from evolving to our highest level, and so we learn that lesson. Norns are directly connected to fate, to karma, and weird. What is weird? The Norns weave weird. Weird means that which has been woven. Weird is the law of this particular moment is surrounded by two other moments, which are the past and the future. So time doesn't go from past to future, it goes from present to past to future. How does that work? In the present, you have experiences, you have feelings, you make decisions. Those decisions have consequences which are then recorded in time, which immediately become the past. Now, those past decisions that have been recorded determine the future. That's how it works. Everything is the eternal present, which is verdandi, which means ever, ever becoming moment of the present. Past is fixed, the future is fixed. That's not entirely true. We can affect the future by changing the present. So Norns point the way. That's what they do. So that's what that means. And that goes into the southwest, which is where Helholm is, which is where we deal with all the karma, all of our orlog, all the decisions that we've made that hold our souls back. And then we're reincarnated, we come back, and we play this video game all over again. So Norns point the way, and then wood wives give birth. Wood wives give birth. That would be in the south. And in the south is the realm of Sawal, which is the realm of the soul. The soul is, it means it gives life. White, wood wives are whites, which are spirits. So the soul is a spirit. And so the fire of the sun, which is our soul, the fire of the spirit gives birth. And it means that everything in our existence is given birth from a spiritual perspective, that spiritual energy. Everything has a spiritual essence. This is the shamanic understanding. So that's, again, connected to the south, which is connected to our passion, which is connected to change and purification and the fire of purification, the fire of the sun, the fire of the soul. And so, again, wood wives, which are spirits, spirit entities, they give birth, and that's in the south. Humans endure. So now we go from south to the southeast. The southeast is known as the human door, and it has to do, what makes a human is the mind. And we're dealing with the subconscious mind here. This is, the subconscious mind is unique to human beings. You know, animals don't have subconscious minds. Humans have subconscious mind, and it is our subconscious mind that creates our entire existence. And so learning to master our subconscious mind is how we master everything. You know, I mean, people who are, you know, there's all kinds of things on the internet about how, you know, you can hypnotize yourself to master your life and, you know, to master this and master that. And it has to do with mastering the subconscious mind. Now, the southeast has a direct line to the northwest. Excuse me, and yours would be southeast has a direct line to the northwest. Northwest is where the elves live, and the elves look past Midgard in the center. They look past Midgard in the center, and they look to the southwest, which is the dwarves. The dwarves and the elves have this connection where they keep each other. Well, actually, the elves keep the dwarves in line. When your dwarves are not being kept in line by the elves, that's when all kinds of chaos breaks loose. That's when you're just running off of your emotions and your life is a mess, and you say, I can't get my life together. Well, that's because you're not listening to the elves. You're not listening to your higher self. And so it's very important that our subconscious mind constantly be connected to the higher self. But this is what makes us human. This is the whole process of being human, is learning how to master this. So that's why humans endure. We're enduring this process of evolution and transformation. So humans endure, and then we have Thurses wait. Giants wait. Now this means that we're talking about giants Again, even in fairy tale mythology, giants are walking around with total lack of awareness of anything or anybody, and just picking up people and biting their heads off, and stomping on whole villages. This is that aspect that seeks to keep us from evolution. This is why Thor is in the east, which is Thurses' weight. Thurses are in the east. The giant home is in the east. This is why Thor's always off in the east. He's always battling the Thurses, because he is battling to help us achieve awareness. Again, we've talked about Thunor as a god of the mind, and anybody who says anything different doesn't understand the myths, because it's very clear in the myths. The myth of All Wise. Look at that. Thor totally owns that dwarf who's trying to outsmart him. Thor is a god of the mind. He is the god of awareness, but he is a god of dynamic power. So again, you've got to understand this. These are things that are hard to figure out unless you got a teacher who understands what the symbolism means. Otherwise you have people like the guy I mentioned before, who I won't mention his name, but he's seen as the authority on modern heathen reconstructionism, and he thinks Thor is an idiot. He thinks Thor is just this guy who just goes off at the moment's notice and loses his temper. It's because he doesn't understand the mythology of his own ancestors. So it's important we understand that. So this is why Thurses wait. They're looking to stop intellectual and human evolution. And that's why Thor fights them. And then finally we go up to on your side would be the northeast. There's the east and northeast. Valkyries yearn. So in the northeast we have the realm of the highest heaven, the fort of the celestial gods. Now there's only 2 forts in all the 9 worlds. There's Midgard in the center, which is the middle fortress, which is human beings are protected from all these other worlds so that they can live their lives. And that's why it's a fortress, because we have to protect humanity. Because what happens when all the different realms come in? Well, you become, a schizophrenic, and you become crazy. Listen, some schizophrenics are tapping into all the 9 worlds at the same time. They don't have, they can't filter it out. Their fortress is broken. So this is why there's a fortress around Midgard, to protect our minds so that we can function and we can live in one world at a time. The shaman is somebody who seeks to travel to the other realms, which is what Odin does as well. So, but anyways, we're talking about the Valkyries, who are in the northeast in the realm of Asgard, and they yearn. And what do the Valkyries do? The Valkyries go out onto the battlefield and they look for warriors who have died in battle and take them to Valhalla. What do these warriors do? These warriors train to help Woden for the final battle. What are we talking about? We're talking about warriors who spiritually train to defeat negativity, who train to defeat ignorance, who train to keep back the inevitable rise of Surt and his fires of entropy. We try and keep back the entropy, which is what? Chaos. Now, eventually they're going to lose that battle, but this is the noble act of the warrior. The warrior gives his life. The warriors in Valhalla know that their time is numbered, that eventually they will have to be destroyed and transformed again. And so this is what the Valkyries are looking for. They yearn for human evolution. They yearn for the highest that human beings can achieve, which is why they're constantly flying around the battlefield. Now, what is the battlefield? The battlefield is our lives. Dying in battle does not mean dying with a sword in the throat. Dying in battle means that you lived your life fearlessly. You didn't care what anybody thought. You went after what made you happy. and you gave your life for it. You know, I mean, people, you know, die. You know, I'm a surfer. Guys who surf these 50-foot enormous waves. I don't have that fearlessness, I'll tell you right now. But I know them. I know them well enough to know if they died doing that, that it would be amazing to them, because they died doing the thing that gave them the greatest joy. Their God, the ocean, whom they worship. That's dying in battle. You live your life fearlessly. And those who do get to go to Valhalla, and they get to fight. They get to fight for the human soul. That's what Valkyries are yearning. They yearn for that, which is why they're feminine, right? And Valkyries look really wonderful, and guys fantasize about being with a Valkyrie. Well, what do women fantasize about? Women fantasize about being with that brave, conscious man who isn't afraid to be everything he wants. I mean, if you want a woman, that's the way to get them. Be fearless. And I can tell you from experience, it doesn't matter how much money you do or don't have. If you live like that, women will come chasing after you. It's because that Valkyrie essence in women senses that. That's what they yearn for. They yearn for that. And there are myths about that, where Valkyries go and they connect romantically with human beings, heroes. Anyway, we could go on and on and on. You can't avoid all these connections. They're coming out of a spiritual science. So, having said that, get the book if you're interested. Mounting Sleipnir, the link is below. Celestial Qigong, if you want to be a spiritual warrior, that's one of the most powerful things that I could ever teach you. And, you know, if you don't want to be my apprentice, get that. You know, that's the most powerful thing I can teach you without, you know, teaching you in person. That's the safest way for me to do it. Because if I work with somebody one-on-one and I really start to teach the high-level stuff, in order to protect them, in order to be truthful to the information that's been given to me, that can only be done in person. So that's what apprenticeship is all about, which, by the way, it just means that you work with me 1 hour a week, and you commit for only 1 month at a time. And for those that go this route, eventually you're going to get over $3,000 worth of free stuff that you would have to buy. So even if you're working with me for a few months, you can potentially get $3,000 worth of materials out of it for free. So, you know, listen, eventually I'm going to not have enough time. You know, I want to be able to work with as many people as possible, but eventually, you know, once I have a certain amount of apprentices, I just simply won't have the time. So if you're waiting around because I need more money or whatever it is you're waiting for, listen, you know, again, live fearlessly. You want to go to Valhalla? Take that risk. The universe will provide, I promise you. So that's apprenticeship. You can click on the link below. Other than that, click on Thunder Shamanism if you have, you know, want astrological reading or whatever else. You can also give me a call if you have any questions about anything. I'll be happy to. While I have the time, I'm happy to answer as many questions as I can. So until next time, my friends, that's it for now, and see you next time.